Bonjour à toutes et à tous et bienvenue dans You Speak Français. Welcome back for another Grammar Monday, les lundis grammaire. Today I wanted to talk about a very specific thing in French, type of verbs. But it's not just in French, it's in any Latin languages. So if you speak any other Latin languages like Spanish, Italian, for instance, you will recognize that type of verb. Other than that, it might be difficult, might be new for you, but it's not too complicated to understand. Those are called les verbes pronominaux, or can also be called sometimes in English reflective verbs. So, what is it exactly? It's verbs that are using what we call un pronom réfléchi, so a reflective pronouns, which is the same pronoun, same person type than the subject of the verb. So I would say that the equivalent in English would be oneself. You know, for example, if I tell you the verb in French se coucher it's to go to bed, or literally to bed oneself, right? So the se part in the infinitive form will be the equivalent of oneself, okay? So here you have the type of reflective pronouns. So here you have les pronoms personnels, so je, I, tu, you, il, elle, on, he, she, and on, which has no equivalent in English. It's not it, as a reminder, right? Nous, we, vous, as you plural or you polite, and il, elle plural, which is they, okay? And here you can see next to it the equivalent of the reflective pronouns when they're used in a verb. So let's look deeper into this. There are three big categories of pronominal verbs or reflective verbs that you can find in French. First one is what we call réfléchi, les pronominaux réfléchis, so reflective pronominals. Okay, you have a few examples here. Se coucher, se laver, se lever, s'habiller, okay? Se coucher, as I said, to bed oneself, which literally to go to bed in English. Se laver, it's to wash oneself, okay, so to take a shower, stuff like this. Se lever is to stand up or get up in the morning, so to stand oneself, get up in the morning, or just stand up yourself. S'habiller, habiller, it's to get dressed, so it's to get dressed oneself, okay? So they are used, as I mentioned, when the subject and the object of the verb are identical, meaning that the object that is receiving the action verb is also the subject. Let's see an example. Here you have an example with a regular verb, coucher, okay? So as I say, to bed somebody, okay? So je couche ma fille. In that case, je, the subject, I, couche ma fille. So I'm putting to bed my daughter. So I'm not receiving the action in that case, okay? The object is my daughter and the subject is I. And the rest of the sentence, et je me couche, okay? And in that case, I couche bed myself, okay? So me coucher, me, myself, all right? So I'm putting myself to bed. So the second part here is the reflective verb. So verbs sometimes can be reflective and non-reflective, right? So if you have an object that is the same as the subject, it will be reflective. If not, it's a regular verb. You have the case over here, coucher. It's the same for all of those. Laver, for instance. If you have, let's say, another example of laver. Je me lave, I wash myself, okay? Let's see. Je me lave equal I wash myself. But if I say, or you can have an example, tu te laves, as we saw the conjugation E, tu te laves here, which is you wash yourself, right? But if I say, tu laves le chien, it's you wash the dog, so you're not washing yourself. The object is the dog in that case. The dog is receiving the verb, right? Okay, So in that case, it would be, the verb would be laver, simply. And in that case, and the first one, the verb will be se laver, the infinitive format, okay? You have other example. As I said, it changed based on the reflective pronouns change based on the subject. So, je me lave, tu te laves, il se lave, elle se lave, on se lave, nous nous lavons, vous vous lavez, il se lave, elle se lave. Okay? Here you have a few examples. The conjugation of the verb laver doesn't change from the regular conjugation in present, right? You just have to not forget the reflective pronoun. Okay? So that's category number 1. Category number 2, you have what we call reciprocal pronouns. So the meaning here is a bit different. You have a few examples. Se connaître, s'entendre, s'enlacer, s'embrasser. Okay? In that case, it means that the subject and the object have a reciprocal relation together. So if we look at the example, nous nous connaissons bien. Okay? It means we know each other well. Bien is an adverb here. Nous nous connaissons bien. It means it's reciprocal. Ourselves, we know ourselves well. Les enfants se battent. Se battre means to fight. Fight oneself. So fight together, reciprocal, fight together in that case. So the kids fight together. That would be the meaning. Les uns, les autres, fighting each other, right? You can also say such, you can also say, in the case of nous nous connaissons bien, I can say je me connais bien. It's reciprocal with myself. I know myself very well, right? And then we have all of the rest, which are, there's a lot of pronominal verbs. You can find a full list that I will link actually down below. But the last one will be construction pronominale. So it's specific construction, verbal construction. Example, se moquer de, it's to make fun of, okay? S'occuper de, it's to take care of. Se taire, it's to be quiet, to quiet oneself, to shut your mouth oneself. Se vendre, it's something that is sellable. Sellable, it's maybe, I'm not sure it exists in English. If it does not, please let me know down below. I may be inventing new words in English. That's possible. S'améliorer, it's to improve oneself. Se souvenir de, it's to remember something. Se méfier de, it's to beware of something. S'abstenir, it's to restrain oneself. S'intéresser à, it's to interest oneself to in something. Could be somebody or subject, object, I don't know. Se tromper, it's to make a mistake, okay? So, if we look at example of those constructions pronominales. Je me promène dans la rue et je m'arrête devant les vitrines. So, I take a stroll with myself in the street, okay? Et je m'arrête devant les vitrines. And I stop myself in front of the vitrines of stores. Do we say vitrines? I don't know. But the windows, the stores windows, okay? So those one are essentially, most of them are essentially pronominal verbs. You cannot, for instance, say méfier does not exist without the pronominal. So this is some verbs that exist only in those type of construction. As I said, I will link a list of pronominal verbs down below by level, so you will know it. Some of them you'll just have to learn vocabulary. It's like learning a new vocabulary, right? In the case of the reflective pronominal and some reciprocal pronominals, those do exist without the pronominal part. Example, connaître, to know, exists without pronominal function, right? Enlacer also, right? And s'embrasser and s'entendre and all the others, right? So it's vocabulary. It's as you're going to learn vocabulary, you're going to learn the meaning of those two, right? If you do in a negative form, it's important to note the position of the negation. Basic negation construction in French, as a reminder, is ne, conjugated verb, pas, right? I've done a video about negation in French, so you can find it in my channel. You have multiple ways of making negation, but the basic one is ne, conjugated verb, pas, and so the position will remain the same. Even if there is a pronouns, the pronoun has to be linked with the verb, so it has to stuck together, so it will be ne, the reflective pronoun, the conjugated verb, and pas in the end. Je ne me lève pas tôt, I don't wake up early. Nous ne nous connaissons pas, we don't know each other well. Okay? In that type of construction. If I say je me lave, je ne me lave pas. Okay? That would be negation. Tu te laves, tu ne te laves pas. Okay? So, ne, and then conjugated verb. In that case of reflective pronouns, the reflective pronouns has to be stick with the conjugated verb. So ne, verb with the reflective pronoun, and pas. Okay? So this is all for pronominal verb. I suggest, so you look up the list of pronominal verbs and try to make a few sentences, learn the meaning of them, as it's going to be new vocabulary for you. You can put down in the comment section just a few sentences that you made on your own. That's always a good practice. That's actually the best way, I think, to learn new vocabulary, is to make up your own sentences. Okay? If you have any question or anything, don't hesitate to leave a comment down below. And until then, I wish you a good day, a good week, a good weekend, and I see you next time. À bientôt!